All right, so this is our swing recap for the week of October 3rd to the 8th. All right, so the first one that was on the list was Tcat. So just want to go through the thinking of Tcat. So I did make profit on it, but I do believe that there's still going to be a bigger move on it. But this is the daily chart of Tcat. So what I want you to notice here on this is just the huge amount of volume that came in here. Obviously it came apart, but then some more interest came in. I think some news came out, and it started gaining more momentum right here. So the reason why, so my thinking on this is just it's a popular name. There is hundreds of millions of shares that have been bought and sold within the last 6 months here, starting back in April. So it's going to bounce. And on a stock like this, you got to be thinking to yourself, I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be a guy that bought in the 50s or the 40s or even the 30s. But do I mind being a guy that bought at 7? Not at all. I'm watching this 705 or 7 level, and I'm hoping for just a small bounce, 7 to 8, $7 to $9, just a dollar 50, maybe $2 bounce right here. Because I think it's gonna happen. All you need is a little small PR, some news to come out, and it's gonna have a nice little jump somewhere. So that's what I was in it for. It didn't do what I planned this week, but I still profited on it. I'll show you the trade that I took on it. Let me bring this to 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm in it at 7. So when I was saying that I wanted it at around 7:05, I actually got in roughly. I got in at 7. My average was actually 7. It dipped below. It dipped below 7. I think on this day I added some on Monday. It dipped down. I added some right here, and then I think I sold on this day. 2 days later, and the reason why I sold is if we just go into the day here, it kind of topped out with volume right here. So if you go into I believe this was Wednesday, right? So if you can see here in the very beginning of the day, it topped out, had a decent amount of volume for the volume that it was actually trading, and I actually got out around 7:40, just because the volume that I was pacing for this day, it wasn't going to go above this level. It just wasn't, right? So if I go to look at the 3-minute candle, yeah, it just wasn't going to go just based on the volume. You see what it did in the beginning of the day, and unless more volume picked up, there's just no way that it was going to get past that. So I decided to get out. It was a decent gain, probably 50 cents, 50 cent gain. Not a 10% gain, but close, 6%, 7% gain on that. And just because I didn't feel like it was going to go above that, you can see if I pull it out here that was a key area throughout the week. It kept on topping out there. It's probably going to break through one of these days, but it was having problems with that area, so there was no point in me staying in it right now. I could have got in on Friday for 690s again if I wanted to, but just keeping it on the radar for now. Maybe trade it again in the future, but for now I'm done. And I want to show you just want to show you similarly to what Tcat. So this is FLGC. All right, very similar idea, very similar concept, where it had a huge run, a lot of volume comes in, went from roughly $3 all the way up to $21, and then it came apart. So again, this is kind of like the bottom feeding strategy mentality that you have, where it just goes up and then it comes all the way down. So I would much rather be a guy that's in it right here, taking advantage of this jump right here. See, so there's this day right here where I went from $5 to $7, right? That's a $2 jump right there. and that's based on the fact that, I mean, you're buying it all the way down here on a highly popular name that had a huge run. So there's going to be a day where it's just going to pop, and there's another day where it popped right here, and that's just because, I mean, how much further can it go down? I mean, it can go. I don't want you to always think that, oh, how much further can it go down? But I would much rather be a guy that bought in the fives than a guy that bought in the tens and the 15s and the 20s that's holding the bag right now. So that's just the thinking of that. So yeah. Next stock that we're going to look at here is Bmra. And this is just take a look at this stock here. It was a decent runner. It ran from my key level I was looking at here was 570s. So we put a line at 570s right there. It actually went below it, but it didn't. It came all the way back up. So that's something that you want to pay attention to. Is it came all the way back up. It dipped down, but it came back up, and it made a run from about 550 all the way to 737, and that's the move I was looking for. Is that type of move. Like, this is not a stock that I believe in long term at all. If you pull out look at the daily chart, there's a ton of bag holders all the way up here. Had a decent amount of volume this day, spiked up, failed, and has just been kind of declining since. It has gained some interest the last couple of days here, but look at all the resistance it's going to run into here. It's going to run into problems at 750. It's going to run into problems here at 940s and about 11. So it has to go through all that. I mean, it can if enough interest comes in. So, I mean, I think this one can make a move in the coming weeks, maybe even next week. But for me, that was the move I was looking for on a swing. I'm not looking for anything more than that. Just this to this. That's what you should be aiming for. Getting yourself a nice 20-25% gain on that. And yeah, I mean, look, there wasn't really that much interest since March. So there's some interest in March, really no interest, and then there's a little bit of interest right here on this day, and then it had a 90 million share day right here, which was what caught my attention on this day. So yeah, I mean, it's still gonna be on my radar, but probably moving on to something else here in the near future. And the last one here we're gonna look at is OG. OG here. All right, so this is a newer IPO. It's a Chinese name, so I wasn't thrilled about it. But one thing that you want to pay attention to here is, all right, the volume right here came in this day, 5 million. Go ahead and put a line right there. And you can see once this held up as support, then there's going to be another way up. But what caught my attention here was this day, where it gapped up with more than average volume. And what really caught my attention is the second day here. The second day, kind of like BMRA, is it dipped down, but it got bought back up, right? So it didn't just die off. Like, if it were to die off and making like a red candle like this one right here, I would have took it off radar and wouldn't have paid attention to it no more after that. But there was a nice long wick here buying it back up, proving that it wasn't done. So that's what caught my attention, that this is going to continue to the upside. So if you were able to get in on this, it would have made a nice move close to 11. I think it was 1090s, 1087 where it topped out at. So it's a decent swing there, really low risk. There was never a day where if you were in on this that you thought, oh my gosh, am I wrong, or do I need to set a stop? If you got in the next day after I put it out on the list, it made a decent move up, just up every single day. You would have thought it would come into some problems right here, even right here, but if it makes it through this, it's coming close to 52-week highs, and there's really nothing stopping it from continuing to go. But I'm kind of just cautious with China names. We don't know what's going on with the delisting and the regulations going over within US and China right now. So if China names start to get delisted, then you don't want to be the one holding the bag when and if that happens. So just cautious, but for a swing trade for a week, that was a good trade right there. That's about it. Hope to look forward to this week's swings. I already got a couple in mind, and if you're in the room, you'll see that coming out probably Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. That list will come out. If you're not on the list, there's a link below in the description, or you can inbox me or Minnie in our Discord, and we will be glad to answer any questions. Thank you, and see you in the room.